Before you chase Tata Capital IPO or grey market prices, pause for a moment. Here are 5 big risk factors that you need to understand. क्या टाटा मोटर फाइनेंस का मर्जर टाटा कैपिटल के प्रॉफिट को बूस्ट करेगा या आरओई को ड्रैग करने वाला है? क्या टाटा मोटर फाइनेंस की लोन बुक टाटा कैपिटल में बैड लोन्स को ऊपर ले जाएगी? कौन से लोन सेगमेंट्स टाटा कैपिटल आने वाले दिनों में स्केल अप करेगा? टाटा कैपिटल आईपीओ में एंट्री का स्मार्ट तरीका क्या है? चेस करें या वेट करें? बोरिंग कॉस्ट और फॉरेक्स रिस्क। टाटा कैपिटल की फंडिंग के लिए अगला बड़ा रिस्क फॉरेक्स है क्या? इफ यू वुड लाइक ए कॉपी ऑफ दिस प्रेजेंटेशन, just drop your email ID in the comments below. I'll send it across. There are 5 comprehensive slides on Tata Capital IPO. Let's first start with the Tata Motor Finance merger with Tata Capital. Now, Tata Motor Finance merged with Tata Capital in May 2025. उसका एक बड़ा एडवांटेज ये हुआ कि जो कमर्शियल व्हीकल लोन फाइनेंसिंग था और जो पैसेंजर कार था और जो सप्लाई चेन फाइनेंसिंग, that became part of Tata Capital. So, before the merger, after the merger and the impact, let's look at the gross loan book. You know, Tata Capital's loan book was 1.92 lakh crore. Before the merger, and the consolidated number is 2.22 lakh. So there is a 13% rise in the loan book. So a net positive impact. Now if you look at the PAT, Tata Capital PAT was 3650 crore. It is now 3665 crore. So flat, because the accretion was offset by cost and the provisions and all that. If you look at the ROE, this is very important. 14.2 has gone down. Tata Capital's ROE, return on equity, has gone down to 12.6, 160 basis point decline. If you look at the ROA, 2.1, 1.80, again 30 basis point reduction in ROA. Gross NPA is 1.5, 1.9, again 40 basis point up, and net NPA 0.5, 0.8, 30 basis point up. So if you see the net impact of Tata Motor Finance is very negative, for Tata Capital. So this drop shows that while size and revenues are up, profits per equity rupees are under pressure until the business digests the merger and stabilizes credit risk and funding cost. Now that is going to take time. Now let's see what the management says. Now management says कि जो cross selling होगी, because now they have a network of dealers and all that, and the supply chain, synergy. तो आने वाले 2-3 साल में प्रॉफिट बढ़ सकता है. बट फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स असली टेस्ट यही है, क्या ये बेनिफिट जल्दी दिखेंगे और आरओई फिर से 14% होगा, और फिर क्या एक बड़ा साइज जो कंपनी का हो गया है तो सारे रिटर्न रेशियोज को लंबे तक दबा के रखें. ये सेकंड चार्ट में ये समझते हैं जो ये एक नया पोर्टफोलियो टाटा कैपिटल के पास आया है, कमर्शियल व्हीकल, पैसेंजर कार, सप्लाई चेन फाइनेंसिंग, उसका पूरा इम्पैक्ट एसेट क्वालिटी में किया हुआ है. बिकॉज एसेट क्वालिटी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. If there is some delinquencies there, or if there are higher delinquencies, that then they need provisions, and then they need capital also. That will have a direct impact on the EPS or the or the valuation. So let's look at the gross NPS first. 1.5, 1.7, 1.47, 1.47, 1.9, and the net NPAs have also gone up from 0.5 to 0.8. Now the big question is whether the NPAs will stabilize or will go down, or NPAs will go up, because that all depends on the nature of assets they're going to book going forward. So commercial vehicle, passenger car, even the supply chain financing, now it's not very home loan kind of a product. NPAs are going to be higher in this segment. Now this is something that investors have to watch out. Now let's see what the management says. Management says collections and tighter checks will improve things in the next 2 to 3 years. And second, if the economy or the auto demand slows, this portfolio could hurt profit until it fully stabilizes. So again, the future looks very uncertain in the next 1 to 2 years or 2 to 3 years. Now we all know Tata is big on the retail side, especially home loan, loan against property, commercial, vehicle financing, supply chain. But let's understand, where the share is very low, and Tata Capital need to scale up, to have a more granular, retail book. So if you look at the equipment finance, it's just 0.9, percent. They have a huge network of dealers, and this is, one segment where we can see some scaling up, going forward. Microfinance, only 1.1%. most of the banks and also the big groups are in the microfinance segment, and they have at least 5 to 6% portfolio in the microfinance, because it's a very high yielding business, and that will result in higher net profit or a EPS, and also the valuation. Leasing solution is very 1.3. That's where if you look at Geo is going to make big stride on the leasing solution side. Loan against securities, again very low, 1.7%. Car loan, look at car loan, 2.4%. The kind of group companies they have, and this exposure is very low. Construction equipment, only 2.6%. There are a lot of group synergies, but still, if you look at the share, is very low. Two-wheeler, 3.0. I mean, this is the fastest growing segment for many player, two-wheeler, but they have only 3.0%. Business loan, again a large group like Tata, business loan, the share of business loan is only 4.1%. Developer finance, it is risky, but now they have 5.71% there. And there are some segment where the management spoke very highly. And what is the affordable housing loans? So there are explicit plan to scale recently launched product like affordable housing. Annual reports talked about education loans, factoring and microfinance, all currently having very small mix in the loan. Now let's do some crystal ball gazing and see the likely IPO price. Now if it is close to rights issue, let's say the IPO price is 360 to 450. Now this would be 5 to 31% premium on the recently issued rights issue. That will show some pricing discipline. This will leave upside, but signal management, conservatism, safer for new investors, frustrating for grey market buyer because grey market price is very high. So this looks reasonable, if this comes, but still it's very high as compared to the rights issue price. Let's study the second, mid range. If the IPO price is 500 to 700, then it is 46 to 100, more than 100% than the rights issue pricing. Splits the differences, assume ROE recovery, synergy delivery, moderate listing. Now this price assumes that a lot of synergies will come from the merger, and they will recover their ROE very fast. So ambitious, but investors have to be very careful. Third, let's see gray anchored. If the price is 700 to 900, which is also close to the gray market pricing. Now it mirrors unlisted optimism, higher downside risk. I would suggest investors to be patient and wait. Let's say for 6 months or a year, and then you can always buy it from the secondary market based on the performance. This is the final chart on the borrowing or the funding cost. Let's look at the bank borrowings. Bank borrowing constitute 35 to 38% of total liabilities, and that includes term loan and other working capital loans and all. And this is in line with all other NBFCs. Non-convertible debenture NCDs 30 to 32%. These are privately placed listed entities. This is also in line with what other NBFCs do. Commercial paper 8 to 9. Short tenor funding for liquidity, that is also okay. Now external commercial borrowing 3 to 4%, 400 million 5-year bond issued in 2025, and that's where the risk lies. And I'll explain you why. So in FY25, Tata Capital issued its maiden international bond, 400 million. Now this 400 million bond diversifies funding, which is very good. But a falling rupee, which is happening right now, raises repayment cost unless well hedged. For investor, watch disclosure on hedged cover and the cost of fund. Now that's where the real risk or the comfort lies. Biggest risk on the funding side comes from this 400 million US dollar bond that they have issued, and we have seen how the rupee of late is depreciating, and because that will create more problem for Tata Capital. So as you can see, because of the Tata Motor Finance merger, the NPAs have gone up, ROE has gone down, and if you look at the funding side, We have seen how this 400 million the external commercial borrowing which they have raised would create problem because of the rupee depreciation. So I suggest watch out for all these risks before applying in Tata Capital IPO. And this video is only for educational purposes and there is no other intention behind it.